Welcome to the Nordic Mythology podcast. I'm Daniel Farrand, owner of the company Horns of Odin, and today I'm joined by, I think you need no introduction at this point. You've been on here enough times, but I'm joined by my lovely friend Jonas Lorentzen.
Hey everybody, it's great to be back after it's actually been a minute.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
We've been plugging away a little bit of the Storytime episodes, which gives me a good opportunity to plug Storytime episodes. A little segue straight into it. So we just did one before this now, and if you don't know what those are, me and Jonas sit down. Jonas reads an Icelandic saga usually, which is a lot of fun. He puts on the voices, and we go through it and just have a laugh. They are a lot of fun. You get those over on our Patreon as a whole back catalogue for them, and that's just Nordic Mythology Podcast /Patreon. No, Patreon /Nordic Mythology Podcast.
That's the one.
Yeah, the other way around. And you can check out the whole back catalogue. So yeah, nice little plug out of the way.
Excellent.
you gotta do it.
You gotta do the plugs, man. You gotta do the plugs. I've got a few plugs as well for this episode. You know, I had to have some kind of reason to come on this time, right? So
I feel, I feel
beyond
like
beyond just having fun with you and chatting and so on,
I actually feel like that's what we did. We just made it up. We were just like, we just want to chat.
We just want to talk.
Yeah, what angle can we get to just sit down and talk and record it? We'll figure it out. No, so I guess for people who haven't heard you before, do you want to give a little rundown as to who you are? I guess because you first came on in like the early 10s episodes with Nena to talk about cooking
yes, that's right,
and then it's transitioned into talking about Nebala. We had an episode on sex in the Viking Age. We've covered all sorts of topics.
We've had a few episodes where we've gone a little bit into sex, I would say, which makes sense because Nebala, which is my main music project at the moment, which I started out more or less alone. At least I started the idea and the concept and the calling for it sort of came to me somehow. I was graced by it, and then I started working a little bit with Sebastian Gainsborough, who's also one of the composers from the Northmen. And then later, when I moved to Norway, started working with Shell, and now it's sort of become a kind of, I would say that Nebala more or less is me, Shell, and our percussionist Rob. I would say it's kind of developed in that way that we sort of all sort of now midwifing this baby into existence. Which is great because I love to have people to collaborate with and do stuff with. So yeah, it's become a kind of band now, which is instead of just my solo, navel gazing thing.
Do you have to give over control though? Because I imagine
certain things I'm happily giving over control about. Certain things that is great because me, Shell, and Rob, we have very different qualities and capabilities, and they all kind of, I feel, at least for the moment, are really supporting each other really well. So I'm really happy to give away some control over certain things, and we are very good at sort of understanding what we each individually are good at. So certain things I kind of like, they kind of like know, okay, that's Jonas, that's what he does, because they don't actually want to do that, and and vice versa. So it's working out really well. I'm super happy about it. That they are talented and fantastic people, so it's just awesome.
Good. I look forward to see.
And what? Sorry?
No, I said I look forward to see what's going to happen with that, and I'm sure you're going to tell us about that at some point.
Yeah. I will. That's one of the things I'm plugging. That sounds cryptic, but we'll get to it. And then
that sentence followed by, or when it follows we've talked about sex a lot on this podcast or in our episodes. It's an ominous way to put it. This is one of the things I'm plugging.
Oh yeah, that's right. With the little threesome that Shell, Rob, and I are gonna
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. No, beyond that, I was involved with the movie The Northman. I played a little role. I wrote some of the music. I sung on I sung on the score, and I did some even vocal training for some of the other actors, like Ingvar Sigurdsson that we actually talked about in the Storytime podcast, who's one of he's, I would say, probably the best Icelandic actor, I would say.
Yeah.
And a Norwegian actor called Magna. So I was working with them to get their voices more growly and teach them a little bit of throat singing and all that kind of stuff that especially Ingvar needed to use. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. And then of course I was in the band. I was in the band Heilung that some of you might know about as well, for a couple of years as well. And yeah, that's me. I'm Danish. What else is there to say? I'm
I'm just gonna leave you in the silence and just let you keep digging for things. Like,
well, I think it's enough to go to get by with it. We can always sort of like more things will be revealed as we get on, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. I think anybody that's listened to our episodes before, hopefully know that it's not going to be super factual based. You know, we have, especially lately since Matthias stepped back, we've had a lot of serious scholarly discussions, a lot of really high quality guests. I've got to give credit to Bob for booking a lot of good scholarly guests, and we've had some really good conversations, particularly the one with Krista Vasshus, which came out last week. I think I got a lot of good feedback on that.
What was that about?
That was about, do you remember the bractate that was found, the Odin's man? It was the little,
yes.
There's a little gold bractate, and it said Odin's man on it, and it had but it's like apparently the first known writing of the word Odin.
Right. Okay, so how old is it?
I think it was 400 AD, maybe.
Wasn't it the one that was actually?
I think there's a Danish.
Pre Christ, wasn't it?
Was it?
Wasn't it 400 BC?
You know what? Listen to the episode and you'll find out.
Or maybe some of the guys will tell us that listen to it.
Yeah, I'm just.
Does anyone know?
Someone's googling.
It doesn't sound right that it would be the first thing that mentions Wodan or Odin or some variation of that it's from 480. That doesn't really sound right.
I feel like it, but maybe it was 200. I feel like it predated something that was maybe in the 400s and back. But again, it's all very ambiguous in itself. I think just definitely listen to the episode. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We spoke a lot about linguistics and the runes. So, but we've had, like I say, we've had a lot of guests on like that. But sometimes it's good to just sit and have a chat with the Buddha and talk, fix the world. You know, we always go off on a bunch of different tangents, and
of course, yeah. No, absolutely. I think that's important as well to sort of do to just chat about things sometimes as well. I think that's good, and then we will always have an angle to something historical or the like, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense from the stuff that we're both into and all that. So there'll be some informative stuff in there, yeah, I'm sure.
We'll find a way to tie it in somehow.
We'll find. Yeah. Did you see that? Did you see Bill Hicks's? Did you know Bill Hicks, the comedian Bill Hicks?
No.
Oh, yeah, it's one of his.
I've heard. I've heard of him, but I wouldn't be able to.
He died. He died many years back as well. But he just has some famous ones that's there on YouTube and so on. But there's one where just before he gets into his last rant, he says, "Is there a point to this show? I don't know. I think there is. Let's find a point." And then he goes into a thing like.
Yeah, that's it.
So I suppose that's what we're doing. This is
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Sit
Let's
back
find a point in the whole thing.
sit back and see what happens. It'll be a lot of fun either way. I love sitting down and talking with you. But first of all, I have to say how fucking good you're looking at the minute. And this is it always comes off as we have like a giant bromance. But we haven't sat down and done this for a while. And you look like you've been tanning, you've lost weight, you've been working out. You're looking you're looking good.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of I think I've been wanting to get into my body for a long time, like for years, actually. Really just to sort of like treat my body as as a beautiful temple that I value somehow. And I've been wanting to do that for a long time, and actually my sort of prompt came because I got a motorcycle injury many years back, I think almost 10 years back or something like that, and which fucked up my lower back. I had what's called a protrusion, which is not a full slip disc, but it's like the gel between the vertebra has been sort of compromised and sort of come out, and therefore it sort of gets inflamed really easily.
Yeah.
Which tighten up the muscles and basically renders me incapacitated, sometimes for more than a week. Sometimes this time around it was so basically to get the timeline right. Back in October, this happened to me again, and I was completely fucked. I was also burned out. I think I talked about that on the last episode that we did.
Yeah.
I was completely burned out, and it basically just forced me to really sort of like go, okay, because like the only thing you can do to make sure that a protrusion in your lower back doesn't become a slip disc is to train, basically, and to keep your muscles activated and engaged all the time. And so for about a half a year, I was doing yoga more or less every day. I was surfing. I was trekking a lot.
You were living the life.
Yeah, I really was in a way, and it was extremely important to me that I did that. I really needed to, because I was completely destroyed back in October. I really was, like, both mentally and physically. The interesting thing that actually then happened when I came back from India was that I landed in the Netherlands. I had some production rehearsals with Nebala. Then I went to see my beautiful pregnant sister, Emilia, from Heilong as well, that people might know. And then came back to Denmark, and then there was a lot of things there, and family, and I played a little gig with my aunt in Copenhagen. There was just a lot of things going on, so I didn't train for about 14 days. And I went to a party, and I think I kind of fell in a way. I didn't really feel it at the time, probably due to certain substances and so on. But next day I was fucked, man. Like, I was fucked. Like, I don't think I remember being this fucked since the injury, actually. And it's crazy, because for 6 months I was the most active I've ever been in my fucking life. Maybe when I was like a kid, like an early teenage boy with too much energy, I was as active. But holy shit, I've been active like nothing, and I've been loving it, absolutely loving it to bits. But I've been like now for more than 14 days completely fucked, and I'm only now becoming sort of, I could go for a walk a couple of days ago in the forest and so on, but that was the first time in 14 days that I was even able to do that. I've just been lying, and then I've been trying to stretch and stuff like that, but yeah, it's been fucked, really fucked. So I went to the doctor and the physiotherapist, and they just said again, like, the thing is that you can't take off more than a couple of days of training at any given time in your life for the rest of your life. So I have to look this good, Daniel. That's the thing.
Is that what it is?
I'm forced to. I'm forced to.
Oh, what a curse.
What a curse. Oh, God. No, but it's really cool, actually, because, like, you can like, you can build up resentment if there's something you have to do, but I'm just embracing it really, really Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love being active. I love doing my yoga practices. And then I'm also intermittent fasting. I don't know if you've ever done that before. There's some
Yeah,
people, it's
yeah.
not for everybody. It really isn't.
I did it
But
for years. I
what is it?
personally really like it. I think it's wonderful. I've just been a little fatty recently, and I've just been eating,
Yeah, I know
eating,
you've been going through shit, and that's also fine. You should
eating.
allow yourself, it's okay.
Yeah.
You allow yourself to don't feel bad about it because then you're just gonna feel bad about that, and then you're just gonna.
Oh, that's the thing. We spoke about this a little bit before in the story time.
Mm,
How it's so surprising how, because I've not put on like tons of weight, but I've been in shape all my life. I've always played rugby. I've done always been to the gym. But it's surprising as soon as you just start eating bad, like down a little downward slope of eating a lot of
yeah,
takeaways, and then you feel bad because you've eaten it. So then you just eat more of it. And it is such a vicious cycle of feeling a little bit shit about yourself because you've been eating shit, and your body feels shit because you're not getting the nutrients, and you're like, other than I'm just going to eat more shit because
yeah,
what's the point? I'm already feeling shit in myself. Um, and I guess you have to at some point be like, now it's enough now. It has
yeah,
to be enough, and you have to turn the corner and get back. Otherwise, I can just see how easy it is to fall into that pit and that cycle of just, because for you for the moments that you're eating the bad food, it feels good, but soon
hmm
after you look in the mirror and go, why the fuck did I eat that?
I mean, it's just like drugs, right? Like, I mean, not every drugs, but particularly drugs such as cocaine or these sort of these or heroin. These kind of drugs that sort of give you a huge kick of like serotonin and all
Mm-hmm.
this kind of stuff, right? I mean, like they just go into Olympic system and just reward it like crazy, right? Like with heroin, it's a kind of numbness to the world, which makes you feel like that you have not a care in the world, Or with I haven't done heroin, but that's what people say. Cocaine, I do have had some experience with, and that is, just confidence, and you feel so great, and oh my god, I'm so and so this kind of person, right? But the next day, you're like, fuck, like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
such a shit, and that's why people get addicted to it, right? Because they need that again in order to feel that way again,
Mm-hmm.
which is yeah, it's that's why people go into those kind of things, and it's the same with food. Food can be a drug. Holy shit, yeah, especially shitty food with a lot of sugar and fat and these kind of things, right?
And it tastes good.
It does.
It tastes good, man. It does. Uh,
It's crazy,
it's
yeah.
yeah, it is such a slope. Um, and it's tough because, like you say, it's also the mentality of, oh, I've been having a bad time, so I'm gonna reward myself with a takeaway pizza. Things have
Yeah,
been hard, so I'm gonna reward myself, as if these things
by
are, yeah,
or a reward, yeah.
as if these things are a reward, because it's like so many people do it. I've had a bad day at work, so I'm gonna get a takeaway, which is, you then acting as if it's a reward for, or at least some sort of comfort for having a bad time. For the last 2 weeks, that's what I've been doing, is having this relationship of treating it like a reward. I've had a couple of tough weeks. I've taken, it's been maybe like 2-3 weeks since I recorded a podcast as well, and
Mm.
took a little bit of time to deal with all that stuff. But been treating food like a reward, like a make me feel better, when in reality your body just feels worse because it's not getting the
Mm.
nutrients, and you just crave it, and it just becomes this little cycle that you have to snap out of, I think.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Um, but again, like what we talked about, like don't beat yourself up.
Mm-hmm. It's tough. Yeah,
I mean,
it is tough. Even it's.
I mean, because if you beat yourself up, I mean, also like, I mean, you should also be allowed to.
Yeah,
I would
I don't
say.
think that you should. I don't think you. I certainly think you should be allowed. I think everything in moderation, including moderation. So you can have takeaway. But I mean, I was getting to a point where I was looking in my car and I was like, oh, I'm eating like takeout food for every meal because it's just convenient and it's easy. And then I'm wondering why I feel lethargic and tired and a bit shitting yourself. It's like because I'm not having, you're not having nutrients that you need, and you just get in that little cycle of.
They are so difficult to get out of, They really
for
are.
sure.
The bad cycles, my God, and especially if the longer they go on, the worse it gets. I mean, I know it's a given, but yeah, yeah, it really is. It really is. But what? How are you feeling now? Are you
I
getting
feel,
out of it? Do you need
I
some
feel, yeah.
inspiration? What do you need?
No, I feel good. Like I
What do you
say,
need, brother?
it was 2 weeks of just, I knew it was going to be shit these 2 weeks. There's a lot to kind of go through, and it's out of the other side now, and I can get back into a normal routine, get back to recording these. But even, it's so funny how, because I quite openly talk about like mental health now, and it was so funny how even just not recording this for, it's probably been 2 weeks I think since I recorded, and I've done over 160 episodes now. But even recording this, it was a little bit of an anxiety to like, oh shit, I've got to get back and record these again. What if I've forgotten how to do it? What if I can't set everything up? What if it goes shit? And that's part of why I was like, okay, let's do one together, me and you, because I know, you're a friend and we can sit, and I know it's not going to be a difficult conversation, and to get back into the flow of it. But it's
To the swing of it,
surprising
yeah.
like how quickly that creeps up on you, and that mentality creeps up and kind of got hold. And it was only yesterday when it came to, I was going to try and do an episode yesterday, but obviously I had like a big thing going yesterday as well. And I was just like, I don't think I can do this. I need my comfort blanket of Jonas tomorrow to ease back into it. But that's genuinely what it felt like, of like having that person who you can just sit and talk with, and it's not like these pressures that you're putting on yourself, I guess.
Do you know this guy on Instagram? I follow him on Instagram. I think it's SCI Savage or C
Oh yeah,
Savage or
okay.
something.
Yeah.
You know who he is?
Soren, yeah.
So I think is he Norwegian or something, but lives in the UK?
I think he's Dutch.
Is he Dutch?
I think he's Dutch.
I can't place his accent at all, and that's actually something I'm pretty good at. So I have no idea, but
I have a
that's weird.
feeling he's Dutch, but don't hold me to that. I could be wrong.
He could be. He could also be Norwegian and all that sort of thing. But it doesn't matter. The reason I was mentioning him right now when you're talking about men's health and so on, and mental health, and it's because he talks a lot about this, and he's also some kind of Viking enthusiast or something like that. At least I see a lot of things where he's dressed up as a Viking in authentic clothes and all that kind of thing. So you should maybe get him on. I think it would be great.
I was thinking about it.
Yeah, you should try to get him on. Yeah, because I mean, there's an angle there. He's into all that stuff, but he's also into to mental health and men's health and so on. I really, really like listening to him. He's got a lot of beautiful points and a beautiful way of talking about these things, actually. So,
no,
yeah,
I do.
You should get him on.
Yeah, I do know Soren. He seems like a nice guy. He does have some controversial thoughts sometimes.
Great.
But I assume, don't we all? He obviously just puts them out into the ether. But at the end of the day,
man, we're talking so much about these people. Oh, somebody's got controversial thoughts. Yes, but I mean, for fuck's sake, how are we going to get anywhere if we all just decide that we shouldn't talk about things that maybe stick out a little bit? I mean, how are we going to get further as a country? I think things are just streamlining way too much these days, and it fucking bothers me. It really irritates me.
Oh, we've all had intrusive thoughts that were like, oh fuck, shouldn't have thought that. Oh, but you can't help it. So, like a lot of the time, they're just subconscious thoughts, just like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have thought that, but or just like have thoughts about the way things are, or certain things, and you just like, and they don't even have to be necessarily that controversial, but you feel like, oh, I can't say anything because what if everybody
What if,
disagrees
yeah,
with me, or what if like I just get attacked for it or cancelled?
cancelled? Oh God.
Ooh.
Oh no. You know, actually, I would fucking love to be cancelled, man. I hope I get cancelled one day. I'd see it as a badge of honor.
Imagine the fame and popularity you would get from it.
I would love it. I would love it. Let me get please somebody cancel out there. If there's someone out there that wants to cancel me, please do.
Oh, I'm sure there will be somebody. I'm sure you'll say something.
I'm sure I'll say something. Maybe today. Let's see if we can get cancelled today, Daniel. Today.
Maybe. I mean, do we have to? I quite like making.
David's writing hashtag cancel Jonas.
I quite like doing these. I have missed it. It is, as much as I had some anxiety towards getting back doing it, I fucking love doing this. And
yeah,
I wish I would love if I could make it, if I could ever do this into like a full-time thing. That would be great.
Wouldn't it? And let's not be so scared about talking about things, like say for instance, if we started talking about some kind of contentious thing like vaccines or whatever.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
No, but I'm not saying we should talk about it. I don't want to talk about vaccines. I'm just saying, let's say if we did, and so what if someone has a controversial idea? It's like everyone's so scared, like, oh God, no, he doesn't agree with vaccines. He's gonna kill us all. It's like, well, how do you know that? Like, just because someone says that they don't agree with some whatever it is, how's that gonna murder us all? It's not dangerous. These ideas and thoughts and ideas and so on are not that dangerous unless we treat them as such. They only become dangerous once we start identifying with them and saying that and a thought, an idea is who you are. That's a problem. That's what Hitler did. My thoughts and my ideas is who I am, and it's what this whole country is, and we're gonna make the whole world be that. That's an issue. But the thoughts and ideas in themselves are not dangerous. I really believe that. But anyways, why am I here? Well, other than just chatting and trying to get cancelled. Okay, so there's a few different things. Of course, Nebala's got some shows coming up. I have my first solo show, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, you do?
Coming up.
I didn't know about this.
Well, it's very, like, I don't think it's even been announced yet. But basically, Midgard's is collaborating with a festival in Romania, which is called Art Mania, where Vardruna is going to play, Porcupine Tree, a few other things. But Vardruna is playing, and then Folget Borta von Urdevinden is going to do a.
I wish he'd picked an easier name for that.
FBV, all right?
I think that's, yeah, because every time anyone says, I'm like, how do you expect anybody to fucking Spotify that?
I don't know. I think it's a cool name because I understand what it means. I kind of like it. It's kind of like the people beyond the Northwind. I think that's a really awesome name. But yeah, it's a difficult one. Yeah. But that's Benny for you. He doesn't give a fuck, I think. But but Benny and I are gonna do a little talk as well on rituals and music and so on. And then I'm doing a solo performance with a new thing that I've started doing with loopers and stuff like that. So
as in like a loop pedal where you can.
Yeah, it's not a pedal. It's a thing I've got in front of me. I press it. Well, it's kind of a pedal, but I use it's hand controlled.
Are you going to be the Viking Reggie Watts?
Oh God, that would be so cool.
Please be the Viking Reggie Watts.
This simulation is a good one. You can move this massive molecules through the air over there, and you live in that every day.
He's brilliant.
Love Reggie Watts. He's a genius. Yeah, so that's what I'm going for. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for
That's
mentioning
like,
that. I've just gotten into him very recently. Actually, I didn't know who he was. He blew my mind. Absolutely insane.
it's such a
So
talent as well.
yeah. Him and Mark Ripollet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're gonna do something like that?
Yep. So I'm doing a solo performance at this Romanian festival and talk, and Folkit is gonna do something, and then of course Madruna is there, which is gonna be awesome. And then I can announce that I think it will be announced by the time this one airs that Nebala is playing Mika's flute this year
Mm-hmm.
as well.
Again?
But it is not going to be a Nebala show per se. We're doing a specially curated thing for Mika's flute this year, and what that thing is that it's me, Shell, and Rob only. Yeah, David knew because he came to the thing. Anyways, so it's gonna be me, Shell, and Rob, and we are doing a kind of improvised rave set.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes any sense, but we are gonna do. We're calling it Bloat Rave Awakening the Ancients. So we're basically gonna do it as a kind of dance set that we're going to make up on the spot for 90 minutes on the first day of the bloat. Basically, the last thing that happens that day is gonna be us in the Guildhall, just fucking raving out, making everyone dance like no one's watching. That's at least the aim of it.
Jonas,
Yeah.
hear me out. Have you ever heard of the Happy Mondays? And more importantly, have you ever heard of Bez, the guy who was employed by the Happy Mondays to shake maracas, but also just dance on stage for like their whole tour? And
Where are you going with this?
I think you know where I'm going with this. That if you need somebody to just get drunk and get on stage and just not play it, I'm not going to play any instruments. I'm just going to
just dance.
Just going to almost be like a hype man just to get everybody going and dance. I will do it shirtless if needed.
You got to lose some weight then.
Nice. Fuck you.
In a coconut bikini.
In a coconut
bikini.
I'll wear the coconut bikini.
Let's fucking do it.
And I'll just be the hype man who's just like,
To be completely honest with you, Daniel, I don't exactly know what's going to happen on this thing. Like it's a little bit like this podcast in a way. Like we have some idea, we have some structures and some things that we know we want to play around with. I've got different melodies and so on that I know fits with this and that, but how it's all gonna happen, I don't know. But it's going to be a kind of ecstatic dance ritual. That's what I would call it. Like, let's fucking everyone who comes into that Guildhall, we all have to do this together. It has to be like a joint venture.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that are watching aren't just watching, but really participating in many ways. So
I feel like it'll be almost like its own living. That's what I imagine. Like everyone will be like a one living organism.
Yeah,
kind of just
that's what we're going for. We're going for a super community dance experience. That's what we're trying to create.
I need to make sure I'm there for that.
You need to come, man. You can't not come.
On stage with my maracas.
Yeah, in a coconut bikini.
Oh, yeah.
With your fucking Viking tattoos and your beard and everything, it's gonna look great.
Yeah, it would work. I think we'd make it work.
Yeah, but it's gonna be very trancey, and we're bringing all kinds of weird instruments and of course loopers and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be a lot of fun. Just a lot of just a big party and a big
old party. And then we all go down to the fire afterwards, as you know, and then we continue down there.
Lose the coconut bikini.
I think maybe at that point it'd be too cold, but lose the coconut bikini and put on some clothes and come down to the fire.
I was thinking there would probably be less clothes at the fire. I don't know why. I feel like after an intense rave, there would
Maybe.
probably end up being less.
Could be. We'll see.
What happens in Midgard's Blood stays in Midgard's Blood.
Oh yeah. Fucking hell, my fucking thing keeps going off somehow. I don't know why it's doing that, but let's hope it doesn't do it anymore. So yeah, and then of course we've got in September we've got Festival Medieval in Germany.
Okay, nice.
And then our good friend Mathieu is he's organizing a festival in France at the end of September called the French Viking Fest, which is a really nice one. I can really recommend people to come, especially because, I mean, it's free. It's a free festival because it's a cultural festival. And we're playing, I think Nutland is going to play a few other, I don't know about Nemur. I think Nemur might play as well. There's going to be some cool bands, good food, and just good people. Like Shell and I were there last year, and we just played like I just played some stuff with a lyre, and Shell did as well. We just kind of had a cozy time, and it's just such a great vibe. My God, such good people. Really, really cool. I can really, really recommend it. It's way smaller than Midgard's Blood, of course, and all that, but it's really awesome. Yeah.
When was that?
Recommend that one. It's in the end of September, I think on the 30th.
Okay.
30th September. Yeah, so it's the last festival of the season almost.
I feel like I'm just going to become a Nebala groupie for the season. I want to come to all of those now. But now I want to come to all of those.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. You'll never be a groupie. You're just a Nebala friend. I'd rather call you.
Yeah.
A Nebala bro.
Oh, okay. I could get on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. And then I have another fucking awesome thing to say, which you might like to hear as well. You know the meat company Afon Mel? I think you work with them, don't you? From Wales.
Yeah.
So me and Sam have developed 2 meads together. We did this a long time back, but they're finally ready. They're now got that 1-year vintage thing.
Yeah. And
my beautiful, wonderful sister Sarah, who also did our video. She was editor. She's also a really great illustrator. She's done some awesome labels for it, and there'll be a feminine and masculine version. We're calling them the mead of poetry. So there'll be a Gunlafu, the feminine one, which has elderflower and is sort of sweet and floral, and then the masculine one, which we have chosen to call Voodoo Ridash, Ecstasy Rider, which is with elderberry and is more tart and a little bit more difficult, but nice tasting as well. And yeah, so they're going to be launched very soon. They're just done now. That they've got their 1 year of what do you call it? Storage time or whatever you call it.
Yeah. Fermentation.
So they really developed
the
fermentation, and they developed the flavor and all that. So we're launching them very soon, which I'm super excited about. So it's a Nebala mead, first of its kind. Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is super great. So yeah, there's actually quite a lot of things happening. Even if I have been a bit silent for a while, but yeah, Nebala is definitely still going strong, and we've got a lot of plans for next year as well, and for album number 2, which is probably going to be quite different from the first album. Well, it is going to be quite different. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I'm super excited about that as well. So yeah, lots of shit going on, man.
Will you be taking inspiration from your travels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely. One thing I think that's going to be the key difference is actually the way that I approach writing the music this time. Because on the first album, it was very until I started working with Shell, it was mainly sort of like my coming from me. Of course, I had some collaborators that I could bounce things off, and Sebastian was incredible to work with for the 3 first ones. But it was kind of like you know kind of how could you say, like I kind of had like the concept and the idea quite sort of mapped out in my head. And when Michelle and I started working together, things started taking a little bit more of a improvisational feel. Like things would kind of like, when we went into the studio, I would have very little to go by, and we would just see what would happen in the space right then and there. So we're kind of going a little bit further with that kind of approach. So we're going to probably just go into the studio, Shell, Rob, and I, and then we'll get people in as and when we need them and so on. But we're just going to kind of like jam our way to a whole album in a way. I mean, of course, I'll have ideas and concepts and stories to tell and so on. But it's gonna be quite like jammed in a way, which is gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
I look forward to seeing what you come up. Do you think, are you going to keep? I know you've never really called it Viking music, but no. I guess it has a kind of falls into that.
It does, yeah.
Falls into that space. Do you think you'll keep with that theme? I know before you've not too sure about where you want to go with it, and I think anybody listening to the first album, it certainly has like the Eastern influences. Obviously, you were married to Nena for a long time. You have that's a like India and around that area is a huge part of your life, and clearly comes into the music. Do you think that'll feature a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's going to be. Well, I mean, while traveling in India, I made a lot of really cool connections with fantastic musicians, especially up in the northern mountains, the Himalayas. And so, and I even jammed with some of these people and so on. That was also the kind of thing that also got me a little bit more into the whole jam feeling, because a lot of the times when we would jam, things would just appear in the moment, you know. And you know, I was thinking some of these things, if they could have been captured, it would have been cool to put some of that at least on an album or something like that, you know. Because it was amazing, and you know. So yeah, I think there's definitely gonna be more world music. It's not gonna be as heavily Nordic in that sense. I mean, also because all of Nebala, even if you, I mean, you're completely right that of course there's definitely you know, you can hear that Eastern vibe in a lot of the things. But it was still with a quite clear foundation in the Nordic stuff. Whereas now I think that's going to be loosened up even more. It's still going to have Nordic in it, because that's also where I'm from. That's, you know, so that's also what I have in my baggage. But it's definitely going to be more free in a way, free of that, I would say. But again, like, I'm selling the skin before the bear is shot, you know, like let's see.
Let's see what happens. Oh, wow, yeah. Now, that usually is when the magic happens, though. It's like those improvised kind of experiences, whether it's with anything. I know, like, usually a lot of the best days I've had, or the best nights out I've ever had, are ones that kind of just happen. They come by, and it's very in the moment, and it's not too rigid and planned. But then I guess I wonder whether, particularly with the jamming, do you think you'd maybe lose some of that freeness if you knew subconsciously that it was being recorded? Do you think maybe that would then cause a little bit of tightness, and maybe the moments happen when you're so free, because it is kind of just in the moment and there is no...
It's a great question. It's a great question also, because I think it's what all recording artists struggle with, right? Because we had these experiences when we were playing live, or when we're just jamming or whatever, and go like, oh, it's incredible, I wish we had recorded it. And then you go in and you try recording, you try to capture that again. It's almost like when you like the other day, my friend and I, we were standing and we were looking at, because it was a really windy day, and we were looking at we were looking at the wind, and we were standing on a little sort of like a little kind of bridge, and there was a creek. And I mean, the whole scenery was so incredible, and the wind was sort of smashing the trees together, so they looked like they were dancing, and there was this incredible vision
Mm-hmm.
in front of our eyes. And you try to capture it, but you can't. There's
Yeah.
no way of doing that because you can't capture the feeling as well. The
Mm-hmm.
feeling that you get from seeing it. It's not just a visual thing; it's a feeling, right? So that is every recording artist's problem, and I think that is also kind of why I would like to try this approach. Because if we just go in and start jamming for a couple of hours and just hit record, we'll forget that we're recording, right? Hopefully.
Don't tell anybody that you're recording.
I'll just tell Shell. I'll tell Shell to hit record without no one watching. And we just go like we're just practicing. We're just practicing now. We're just practicing.
Oh,
jamming.
He has an idea. Okay, make it like a Schrodinger's cat type situation. So just put a timer on when the recording should start, but not know when the recording will. So like I don't know, like a randomizer, and so it'll be like a set timer. It might start in like 5 minutes, or the recording might start in an hour, and hit it. So then none of you actually know if it is recording or isn't recording, and you might hit something really good, or you might fucking completely miss it.
That's a funny one. Yeah, I don't know if that's possible, but I can't try to find out. It's not a bad idea, man. I'll definitely run that by the guys.
I'll just come and sit outside and then just hit record when it's needed.
Yeah. Like, you need to hang out with us more, anyways, right? Like,
yeah, I'll just sit there with my maracas waiting, and then when I feel like the moment's right, I'll just be like, hit record, and then just run off.
Yeah, and just run away. Yeah, no, I like that idea. I mean, because it is really a big struggle, like standing, like especially when you go in and you record vocals. I've gotten fairly good at it. Like I've gotten fairly good at forgetting that I'm recording and just center myself and make myself present and focus on what I'm trying to feel and convey and that kind of stuff, So I've gotten fairly good at it. I wouldn't say I'm struggling with it that much before, but I remember in the beginning when I started out recording, I remember going like, why is it that it sounds not like how it usually sounds,
Yeah.
And that is obviously because you get super self-conscious. I mean, it's obvious that that's what's going on for sure.
That's how I feel when I hear myself sing in my head and then hear myself sing on a recording. I'm like, why did it not sound how it's meant to sound in my head? It just sounds shit now. in my head, it sounds really good.
Yeah. I mean, I've shit like it's a weird thing. Like also when I'm creating music in my head, and then to bring it out, it never is the same. And you kind of I think you just have to accept that somehow. I think you kind of do. And be happy with the experience you had. I remember once I was do you know what a heroic dose of mushrooms is?
I'm gonna guess a shit ton.
Well, it was coined by Terence McKenna. He said the heroic dose was 5 grams of mushrooms.
Okay.
And the reason he calls it a heroic dose had something to do with the hero's journey and all that sort of thing. And he related taking a mushroom trip to a kind of hero's journey, venturing into the darkness of your own soul or to the depths of your own soul and coming back with gifts to bestow to the world. And I understand what he means because when I did this obscene amount of mushrooms, which was a fantastic experience, I have to say, it was an absolutely fantastic experience. And I went into what I can only describe as a kind of the machine room of reality, I would call it. It was a kind of like the back room of reality, where reality is controlled from. And I was listening to the most incredible music in there. It was insane. There was no music, by the way, absolutely no music at all. But there was like outside of my inside, if you understand what I'm saying. No one had put any music on.
Yeah.
It was playing in my head.
Yeah.
and it was this I can only call it like ancient funky psychedelic music or something like that. Like, and there was there was these whenever the music sort of contracted and contorted, the whole machine room of reality kind of like contracted and then exploded again. And there was this voice that was telling me that this is how it is when everyone forces their will into reality. Then everything contracts and then gets exploded again. And there was this voice that was singing something about that as well as great lyrics. And I was so inspired, but there's no way I'm ever going to be able to make that music. There's absolutely no way. I will probably, I will take it as an inspiration to create something. I'm already actually working with someone on that, but that'll be for another podcast. But I'm taking it as a great inspiration. This was last summer, by the way, that I had this experience, and but I can't capture that. Like, I can't bring that out. That was there in that moment, and that will never come again. You know.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the Viking Tenacious D. You're gonna do
a
tribute,
I'm gonna make a tribute
to the hero mushroom.
Song in the world, to the greatest song of the machine brew of the reality.
Yeah, just put a.
That's so great, Daniel. That's exactly what it's gonna be. This is not that song. This is a tribute to that song.
Yeah. I wonder if that's where theirs came from. Was just a trip,
then.
And it's like,
but isn't it kind of like, I don't know, they're meeting the devil and all that kind of stuff.
It's like I'm never gonna. I could never do justice, but here's a thing to say how cool that thing was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, have you ever done psychedelics, Daniel?
I haven't, and I was gonna actually bring this up because somebody bought me a mushroom therapy. It's like you go. I'm assuming it's not legal because mushrooms aren't legal, but
not in the UK at the moment. No, that's true.
But it's
ketamine is legal for therapeutic purposes, and I think they're getting close with MDMA, but psilocybin isn't yet.
No. Yet. But so yeah, it's like a mushroom therapy where you go, and I think it's quite controlled. So there's the lady that runs it, like, will I assume it like guide you.
But you know Martin, right? You know Martin, the gentle giant.
Yeah.
Huge, tall guy. Mm-hmm. Who also plays with Heilung every once in a while. And so on. Big dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Martin Kufal, he does that. He's a mushroom therapist.
Yeah.
Like psychedelic therapist.
So I have like
great fucking guy. Yeah.
I have a coupon, I guess, whatever you want to call it, to go see this lady to do it. And I've always wanted to do like mushrooms, and it's always something that's been on my list. But then, and I also kind of know that I want to start doing some form of therapy. But I'm also then terrified to do it because of like the events of the last year. That makes me terrified to do like a psychedelic. But so I'm kind of in that mixed place. That's why I've not used it yet, because I haven't done it before, and it's very unknown, and I don't know how it would be and maybe how I would react. And certainly the psychedelic part of seeing things, it's quite terrifying, but I've also always wanted to do mushrooms. And obviously pre the last year, I would have been like, yeah, let's try it. But I also think it could be.
I want to say something to you then.
Yeah, go.
Because, and I am always very careful when it comes to this recommending psychedelics to people, because I don't know this woman. Yeah, that you're going to, right?
She to be fair, she has come like recommended. The person who bought me it has used her and been there, like that kind of.
That'll be up to you to decide whether you trust this person or whatever, because that's extremely important, right? Like it's extremely important that whoever you're going to be sitting with, and the setting, meaning, that they still we always talk about set and setting, and set and setting is basically the place you're in, and that you feel comfortable in that, and that your intention for the whole thing, and whoever you're doing it with, and so on. These things play in. They actually, in many times you can set an intention with a psychedelic trip, and many times that intention is not actually what you get out of it, but just the fact that you set the intention, that you made yourself ready for the experience. It's like you don't just go jumping off with a parachute without making sure that everything is right.
Yeah.
Right, like that you do your due diligences, and then the experience will be what it be. But I'm just saying, like, I'm sure she's fine, and if she comes recommended by people you trust and so on, then it'll probably be all great. But I'm always a little bit careful with recommending it, because you can. Timothy Leary back in the 60s recommended just throwing LSD in the water supply and just fucking trip everyone out so that we would all gain enlightenment. It doesn't work like that. That's insane. That
No.
is irresponsible. You have to be responsible about these things. It's not a joke. I wasn't responsible with these things when I was younger, and I wish I had been. But here we are. But anyways, what I will say though about you in your particular situation, with the stuff that you've gone through, it might actually exactly be the right time for you.
Well, that's the thing. It's that kind of way up of whether I think it would be. I think it would be beneficial, but I have the fear of I guess the visuals, and I guess to rather than just beat around the bush, for anybody that's been listening and has listened to the other ones. So I lost someone close to me to suicide, and I was unfortunate enough to kind of be around to. I wasn't the initial person that found them, but was there very soon after and saw the situation. So, but that's something that I've internalized completely. Like since that night, I've not been able to visualize it. My body's just kind of shut it off and must have gone into some sort of defense mechanism and just gone, no, you can't see, which is quite different, because I get a lot of people, they see things and they say that that's all they can ever see, is that they see it replaying in their mind. But my body must have just gone the other way and just gone, okay, that's not something you need to see ever again. But obviously it's there somewhere. So it kind of is a little bit worrying of that it's never really come back up. My body has definitely locked it away in some sort of defense. So my fear is that I would do something like a psychedelic, and then that would just be a flood of this kind of negative imagery, but then again, I don't really know how mushrooms work, and if that is kind of the thing that would happen. And I guess, again, that's why you would have somebody there.
You can't really know.
I assume that's why you would have someone there as well to like guide in a certain direction, and just try and keep you from that bad side.
No, well, it's not keeping you from it, actually. The thing about it is that let's say you're on the trip and you're going to a very dark place. Perhaps there's even a demon that's laughing at you, or whatever it could be. The thing is not to keep it away. The thing is to engage with it. And that's where it gets tough, because if you try to run away from it, or if you try to fight it, those two things will fail. That'll just make it worse. The only thing you can do is to engage with it and go, okay, you're here, you're this dark thing here. Now, what do you want from me? What do you actually want from me? To engage with it. Like Rune talks a lot about Ragnarok being the separation, the separation of the connection between the forces of chaos and the forces of order in some way. To say it very simply, he would probably have a more intricate way of describing it, but something like that.
It would also take probably about 20 minutes to say.
And it would take about 20 minutes. So I said in 2 seconds what he would have said in an intricate and beautiful way, but it would take 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But Rune from the Nordic Animism channel, he talks a lot about the Ragnarok happens when the breakdown of these connection and of these affiliations actually happen. And so I would liken that to a mushroom trip as well. I think if you try to separate yourself from whatever, because that darkness, whatever it is you're meeting, is something that's in you and it's in the entire world and so on. So it's actually about embracing it and getting comfortable with it, getting to know it basically. But that being said, if you're, I mean, you can't. The thing is that I've talked to some of my friends who study this on an academic level as well, study psychedelics and mystical experiences and so on. And the thing is, the best way to describe it is that you have to get ready to not be ready for what's going to happen. You have to be ready to not be ready. The minute you can say, I'm ready to not be ready, it doesn't mean that your trepidation or whatever is going to go away. That's a good thing that you have a little bit of that before you go into it.
Yeah.
You know, that is a good thing. But it means that you kind of like, okay, I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to surrender to this experience and let it be whatever it's going to be. That is where you have to be in some ways in order for the experience to be beneficial for you. Just because sometimes a mushroom trip can just be happy and amazing and full of fun, and just it can be mind-blowing at the same time, but sometimes it can also be fucking hard. That can be so tough. I've had some of those, but those have been some of the best ones as well. You know, because those are the ones that mean something, the ones that aren't just, you know.
Yeah. The greatest songs in the world.
Yeah, exactly. But that trip wasn't always great. Like there was also some dark things about that, but be that as it may, another thing you could consider in your particular situation, which I actually, sitting here and listening to you, might think would be better, and I can hook you up with someone who does that as well in the UK, would be an MDMA journey.
Okay.
Because MDMA is the love molecule, and you get a very high dose intravenously, and everyone that I've heard who've done those experiences have just, I mean, it's transformative. Like my friend's mother did it because she lost her sister.
Okay.
My friend's mother did it and she lost her sister, and for her it was she said it was up there, like it was third after having given birth to her children.
Wow. Okay. You know what?
And she changed her life entirely. I mean, it's changed her completely. Like the depression and the sadness and all that grief that she hadn't processed in the real way really came out in a beautiful way, because that's what MDMA does. It reminds you of the love, basically, the love that is embedded in every single aspect of your life, even to the ones that you once upon a time loved and now hated. You know, you can find love for them. So, and it doesn't stop. Like, of course, if you have a therapist, you will have integration sessions later where you keep processing what you experienced in that trip, right? It's not a magical pill. There's no such thing, right? You have to do the work afterwards. Like, it's powerful stuff, man. But it can be very, very beneficial.
I bet. Sure. I bet the strangest thing happened, just other than Rocco.
I just gotta interrupt 1 second, because the chat is going crazy right now.
It's all right.
All the fucking NMPs are trippers, man. I didn't know that.
Apparently so, yeah. Apparently so.
All the NMP Patreons are fucking off their tits. Sorry, go on. What were you gonna say, Daniel?
No, just the weirdest thing when we were having that conversation thing. Hang on, let me just go and get Rocco. Can you hear him barking?
A little bit, but it's kind of cute. But do your thing if you need
to. We've been here for a while now, so he's getting a little bit fed up. Come here. Come on. We're going to be done in a minute. He can usually do a few hours, but then he gets
fed
up. Come on, up here.
Love me.
Yeah. No, what I was going to say was when we were having that conversation just then, the weirdest thing happened. So behind the camera here is in like the corner over in this direction is the works computer, and like the screen just turned on. Like usually you'd have to move the mouse to turn the screen on. But like the screen so I sit here do this all the time and I've never noticed it. Maybe it's happened before and I've just ignored it, but I don't know, I've never noticed it happen before. But when we were talking, the screen just like came on and like a bunch of email notifications like popped up because obviously the screen had come on and maybe it registered that it was on, and then like it just went off again. But it was just such an odd thing because it never happens. I've been sat here for hours and it's not come on, and I've been sat here for tons of times.
Because we're talking about something high energy right now, Daniel. It's like it's
again, you know, I don't know.
All your electronics act up.
I don't know what I believe in and what I don't believe in, but it was just one of those moments. It was one of those moments. Then I was just like, "That's fucking odd." But if that mouse cursor starts moving, then I'm fucking out of here. That's what I was thinking, because I could see like the mouse cursor on the screen. I was like, "If that moves, I'm fucking gone."
Right. Fine. Then Rocco will be happy as well.
Yeah.
And maybe it's Rocco's energy starting to mess up things that you'll go and give him some love.
Yeah, it's like, come on, we're done now.
But I mean, you know, Terence McKenna said it the best way about psychedelic. He said, "Take it easy, dude."
Yeah.
But take it.
Okay. Yeah.
So you gotta, you know.
It is one of, like I said, it is one of those things.
Relax about it.
It's one of those things I would be disappointed if I never did. And, you know, pre like the last year, like it would have been something I would have happily tried. But then, like I said, it is just that fear now of.
But you have to be ready also to understand that there'll be a Daniel Farron post pre this, and there'll be a Daniel Farron post this, because it is going to expand your field of vision and view, like very few things do, you know. Just like there's a Daniel Farron pre. Sorry, what was her name? The one you lost.
Oh, Sarah.
There's a Daniel Farron pre-Sarah, and there's a Daniel Farron post-Sarah, right? Most definitely. I've seen that in front of my eyes. On many levels, in so many ways.
For sure.
So you have to be ready for that as well. But it's beautiful, and there's a lot of inspiration to find in there. I mean, when I have these experiences, there's usually always, for me, some kind of element of poetry or music or something that I bring with me out of it. Like I remember I had one beautiful experience with a friend of mine up in the mountains in India, and we were basically lying at this beautiful waterfall and on these rocks and feeling very grounded on these rocks. At the same time, you had this experience of the mountains and the sky, and then the ever flowing water that keeps flowing. And it was kind of like the way that I felt it was like I was feeling the flow of infinity somehow. And then there was an incredibly beautiful woman sitting on a rock over here with a hat on, and she was sort of with her legs sort of coming down, and the sun was sort of gliding over her leg, and she was so beautiful, incredibly beautiful with a hat on. And so this thing just came to me, and I just said to my friend Adam that I'm experiencing eternity and the woman with the hat over there. So, imagine the sort of ungraspable eternity, the flowiness, totally you can't, and then something super concrete like that beautiful woman. It was just like, again, like I have to write a song someday called Eternity and the Woman with the Hat over there.
The woman with
like
the hat on.
It's a great line, you know.
Yeah, it would be.
And another day also where we went out and we did it, and it was a quite windy day in this beautiful area in the island of my birth. It's quite windy day, and the waves are big, and there was spray, and it was violent. The weather was sort of violent in a way, and there was nobody there, which was perfect for our trip. So that trip was also coined a perfect day when no one wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Again, like that's kind of meta, right? It's there's always these and you can't really put these experiences into words, right? But like we talked about, everything that you create out of those experiences will just be a tribute to what you felt in that experience, you know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
But that's also where the integration comes in as really important, that you work with it afterwards and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's wrap this up.
Let's do it, man. It was great.
I've got to get to bed early. We're going to London Film and Comic Con tomorrow to sell a bunch of stuff, hopefully.
Oh, really?
That should be fun.
Are you?
Chuck Norris is there. Fucking
Who's
Chuck Norris is there.
You and Chuck Norris is going to be there?
Chuck Norris is going to be there.
What the fuck?
How old's fucking Chuck Norris now?
But he can't die, right? So it doesn't matter.
I know. Do you remember like when that became popular? Like Chuck Norris just been fucking hard on everything. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know. It's just funny. Well, that's great. Who's going there? You and what?
So Eddie, the guy that works for me, we're gonna go down and just be in London for a few days and try and sell stuff.
Awesome.
So it was a last minute.
Let me know if you need me to hook you up with an MDMA therapist in the UK. I know the absolute best ones. I'm not.
You do?
Because my really good friend. Well, actually, I don't think I should say this. No, but I'll tell you about that after. I shouldn't say this publicly. Maybe there's certain things, you know. Right?
Yeah. Perfect. Let's do it. Okay. Let's wrap this up. So, where can people? Have a great
time at the con, man.
I will. Yeah. So, where can people find you? Follow you?
They can follow Nebala at Nebala Music on Instagram and at Nebala Music on YouTube as well. That's the best places to find what we do right now. There's tons of live videos as well on YouTube, which are really cool. I think they're great as well. So I really recommend people to go see those if they haven't seen those. And just follow at Nebala Music. That's the best on Instagram. That's the best place to find us.
Perfect.
And there's Facebook as well and all that stuff, of course. But
yeah. If
Facebook's for old people.
It is. If you enjoy the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review wherever you get your podcasts. And as I said at the beginning of the show, you can support us on Patreon, which is the best way, I guess, to keep the lights on and keep the podcast going. It's just Patreon.com/Nordic Mythology podcast. We're going to get back up and start doing a lot more storytime episodes, but there is a back catalogue of those on there as well. And there's a bunch of other material that you get. So go and check that out. And you can follow us just at Nordic Mythology Podcast on all the social medias, or so-mes if you are trendy.
Nice.
Jonas, thank you very much. Like I said, this is exactly what I needed to kind of get back into it. I appreciate it.
I'm so happy, man.
Hopefully people will enjoy the conversation. I'm sure they will. Perfect.
Bye-bye,
Take care,
everybody.
man. We'll speak soon. Thank you. Take care.
We will. Bye.